Hey there my fellow designers and creatives, hope you're all doing well. This is Chetan here from Design Pilot and I am back again today with another awesome tutorial. In this video, we're going to take a look at 20 cool tips and tricks to work faster in Adobe Photoshop CC 2019. Now some of these are new to Photoshop CC 2019 and some of these have been existing in the old versions as well, but not many people knew about these cool tips to work faster. Some of you might know these tips and tricks and some of you might not. So if you're getting started into Photoshop or using Photoshop for the very first time, then this is something you guys will really love. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so this is the home screen of Adobe Photoshop CC 2019, and the first cool trick is to get into Photoshop directly, without opening any document. So to quickly illustrate that, what I mean is if you click on any of the projects that we have, and I can go back to the home button to go back and I can check out and open up another project file, maybe like so. And if I want to go back again, I can go back to the home screen and the dashboard, and I can just open up everything I want. So it's pretty cool. Now the next feature is showing or hiding tooltips. So for example, if I choose a tool, as you can see, it gives me this kind of a like a tooltip saying what it can do. If I want to hide that, it's pretty simple. All I have to go to edit, I can go to preferences, and I can go to general. And then we can go to tools section and we can unhide show tooltips, and it even hides the use rich tooltips. So and then click on OK, and anytime we go over a tool, it doesn't show me the tooltip. So pretty cool. Alright, so the next thing is keyboard shortcuts. Now for those of you who didn't know, you can go to keyboard shortcuts by pressing Ctrl Alt Shift and K, and you could assign keyboard shortcuts to any things that you want. So if you want to change Control New, you can just click on it and then enter the shortcut, and just click on accept, and it's pretty much done. And it's easy to navigate, so you can go to the panel menus, you can go to the tools, whatever you want. You can even set a custom shortcut preset if you guys want, based on any project you're working. So it's pretty cool. All right, so the next feature is to scale the UI font size based on the size of your screen. So let's see how that looks. So if I go to edit and then I go and choose preferences, and then I choose interface. All right, right over here you can see the UI font size is small, and scale UI to font is what we have. So I'm going to click on click on the checkbox over here, and I'm going to set this to large. Now it says the changes will affect the next time you start Photoshop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on OK, and then I'm going to go quit and come back into Photoshop. Alright, so I'm back in Photoshop, and as you can see, there is a slight change already to the UI elements, that some of them are pretty big, and also the font size is pretty big. So if you're using a pretty big monitor, then you could definitely go ahead and put the setting to make sure that you could see them perfectly from a far distance. Moving to the next one is editing the toolbar. So for those of you who didn't know, on the left hand side we have a lot of tools, and some of you use these tools and some of you don't. So you could go ahead and edit the toolbar. Now to give you a small example, I use the rectangular marquee tool and the elliptical marquee tool a lot, but I don't want to go ahead and click on this arrow and then select both of this. I want both of them to be right here. So what you can do is you could go ahead and choose the edit toolbar button that comes up over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the elliptical marquee tool and we're just going to move it out. So now as you can see, it comes up over here. So everything that's together is collapsed into one section, and everything that is not is sits separately. So even the rectangular marquee tool, I want that to be outside. Actually, we can put this together with this. Yeah, there we go. Pretty good. And I'm going to select this one and move this to the bottom. All right, because I want this to be at the bottom. All right, so the other thing we can do is we can hide certain tools if we don't want. So for example, if I don't use the frame tool over here, as you can see over here, I can just take that and drag that over to the side, and it disappears, and now we have less number of tools on the toolbar. So if you want it back, you can just go ahead and bring it back in, and it should be there. Pretty awesome. All right, the next tip is about the keyboard shortcuts again. So I already mentioned this before, but this time if you go to keyboard shortcuts, and there is the letter N. N stands for nothing. That has not been assign it to anything right now. So you could definitely go and use the keyboard shortcut N and assign it to anything. As you can see, if you look through it, there is no N used anywhere. So it's pretty handy. That's something that Photoshop has deliberately done so that you guys can have another letter to use, for anything. So yeah. All right, the next thing is custom workspace. So for example, you're in a tool and you want to, change the settings or, take a couple of layers. What you would have to do is you have to move your entire hand across the screen, your cursor, and then, you would have to do everything, whatever you want. So, but another cool way to improve your workflow is take everything and dock it onto the left side. You can select the tool and then you could immediately come over here and do whatever changes you want. And you could take everything. Actually, let's actually take the character. We can put that on top, just the way it was. The paths, we don't need the path, so I can just close the tab group. This is something that we can keep on the side if we want, or we could actually drag that also and drag this also over here. Properties, which is pretty cool. And everything is on the left side over here, and it looks much better, and you can use the entire screen. This looks much bigger and much wider, and you can work much better. You don't have to drag left and right side to get what you want. So it's pretty handy. Up next, if you go to the layers, properties over here, and then choose panel options, as you can see, you can increase the thumbnail size. So if I go and choose this to be pretty small size, click on OK, you can see the thumbnail becomes pretty small. And if you go to the panel options and set this to big, you can see this how it is. All right, now another cool thing is I'm going to click on OK. Let's actually open up the group over here, and we see this icon that we have over here. Okay, pretty good. Now if I go to the panel options again, and this time we choose thumbnail contents is inside the layer bounds and click on OK. What it's going to do is that's going to make sure that the thumbnail contains only the elements that are there. It doesn't take the entire document, which is really good when you have really small elements and you want to make sure that you know what you're selecting and what you're working on. Pretty cool. The next thing is in the panel options again, you can have this option which says expand new effects. We can turn that off and click on OK. So let's say I go and double click on this background and I add in a color overlay. All right, as you can see, we add a color overlay, and as you can see, it does not expand the layer styles over here. You would have to click to expand it, so that's pretty good. Because if you go ahead and go to the panel options and turn this on, okay, and then let's go ahead and just clear the layer style and add it from first again. Let's add in I don't know, just a color overlay, and as you can see, it automatically expands that, which takes up a lot of real estate on your screen, which you don't want. So you can go ahead and definitely go to the panel options and uncheck expand new effects, and you're done, good to go. Right, the next feature comes with the brush tool. So let's go ahead and just rasterize this. So as you can see, we have this brush over here. Now most of this times you would have been typing something, or you by mistake pressed a key and the entire brush goes away, and you have this kind of a cursor even though you are on the brush tool, which is pretty irritating. And as you can see, even the brush does work, but you can't see the brush, and that's because the caps lock button is turned on. So if you press the caps lock button, it's going to hide the brush and view the brush. In case you want to observe something, which the brush is kind of taking your attention away from. So yeah. All right, guys, so the next tip is going to be very helpful for everybody who uses Photoshop. This is super awesome. Now, let's say we have an image that we want to drag into and place it on our document. So just go to my download section and just drag in an image and throw that over here. And as you can see, this is what usually happens. We get the bounding box with the transform automatically applied. And if you hit enter, it is going to go ahead and place that. Now, let's see how to do it without pressing enter by just dragging it and dropping it directly into Photoshop. So if you go to edit and you go to preferences and you choose general, which is Control K, by the way, I will use that next time. You can choose this option that says skip transform when placing. All right, so I'm gonna click on OK. Now let's see what happens. I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna import it again. So go back to my folder and then just drag and drop it, and bam, you don't have to transform it. It is already placed inside, which is pretty cool and pretty awesome, because it's really a pain to press enter every time you drop in an image. You can just take multiple images and drag them and drop them on inside, and it's going to start placing them one by one, and you don't have to press enter every single time. Pretty helpful tip. Okay, so the next thing is about masking. So as you can see, if you guys know what layer mask is, it enables you to hide or show certain parts of the layer without actually destructing it, which means you can come back to the original way the layer was without creating any destruction to it. So if I add in a layer mask like so, it adds in a white mask. Now white means everything is visible and black means everything is not visible. If you hold on Alt or Option on your keyboard and then you click on the mask, it's gonna make everything black, which means everything is disappear. And if I want to see a certain part, I can go ahead and let's actually just just go like this and fill this up with the foreground color being white. And as you can see, we can see it. So this is just one simple way of using the mask. So hold on Alt or Option and then click on the layer mask to add in a black mask. Now another cool thing that you can do is inverting masks. So for example, we have let's add in a layer mask and then we can select this and we could just put a circle around this guy's head, and if I fill this up with the black color, you can see that this gets hidden. Now if I want to invert it, I can just press Ctrl I and that's going to invert the mask, which is pretty cool, and that's how we kind of want to do it. Okay, now this is something that you guys might or might not know, but if you want to copy layers, for example, I want to copy a layer style on this. Let's go ahead and quickly add in a like a color overlay, and we could set this to lighten and just change it to a pink color. For example, it looks like this, and I'm gonna make a copy of this. All right, and I'm just gonna delete the layer style, clear layer style. Okay, and if I want to copy this layer style, all I have to do is I have to hold on Alt or Option on my keyboard, hold the key first, and then click on the FX icon and then just drag it over here and it's going to copy that. Now this works for anything. You can even copy an entire layer. So select the layer, hold on Alt and then click and then drag it over, and now we have 3 copies. So holding Alt or Option allows you to copy paste anything. If you want, you can even select it over here on the canvas, hold down Alt or Option, click, and as you can see, we get the double cursor, and then you could create another copy. So we have 4 copies. Pretty interesting. Now another feature that you guys might or might not know is this is available only in CC 2019. If you press Ctrl Z, it's going to undo, and you don't have to press Ctrl Alt Z to go back again. You just have to keep pressing Ctrl Z to go back to the initial situation, just like any other software on the planet. Another thing which coming to the layer mask is if I click on the layer mask and let's say I just add in something like this. All right, and I don't want to see this for now, but I don't want to delete the layer mask as well. What you can do is you can hold down Shift and you can click to disable the layer mask and unhide, and click on it again to make it visible. Pretty simple. All right, so the next thing is clipping mask. Now I'm not sure how many of you know this, but it should be pretty simple. If you guys use Photoshop for a long time, you probably would know this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and grab myself a rectangle tool. I'm gonna create a simple rectangle like so. Okay, and I'm gonna come back to the layers panel over here. Now I want the image to sit inside the rectangle. So what I would ideally do is I would right click and then choose create clipping mask, and that's gonna clip that into this section. So to do it much faster, instead of right clicking and choosing create clipping mask, is to hold on Alt or Option on a keyboard and come between the 2 layers, and you just click on it to release it, and it's going to clip this to that. So you don't have to right click and then choose create clipping mask. So pretty cool tip. Okay, now this is something really awesome. This is with the brush tools. If I press B on my keyboard and I'm just going to rasterize this is my normal brush. Now every time you want to zoom in and you want to probably brush out some parts, you would have to go and reduce the size of the brush, which becomes a really big pain. Oh no, I want it to be bigger, so let's go this bigger and make it 45, which takes a lot of time. So the shortcut for this is the left and right square bracket keys. So if you click on the left and right square bracket keys, it goes up and it goes down. So quickly you can change the size of the brush. Okay, so the next feature is, the next tip I would say, is to decrease the size of the brush without using the keyboard shortcuts and without manually selecting these, the brush size over here. So if you hold down Control and Alt on your keyboard, you hold the right mouse click button and you scale this up and down, you can see that the diameter changes. Now for Mac, it's going to be Command and Option, but for Windows, it is Control and Alt, as we all know it, and it can easily change the diameter of the brush as well. As you can see, it shows all the details. Now, if you want to change the brush hardness, you can move this up and down. So as you can see, the hardness is, increasing up and down. And if you do it from left to right, it increases the size. Alright guys, though this is one of the most awesome features that I like, which I did not know, but I'm not sure if this was there in the older version. If you want to change the opacity of your layers, all you have to do is press 55 on your keyboard and bam, the opacity has been applied, which is super awesome. I really love this feature. You want to change it again, you want to change it to 23, tap 23. You want to change it to 40%, just press 4. You want to change it to 100%, just press 0 and you are done. That is super awesome. Now another thing is coming to the layer styles. If you double click on the layer styles and we see that some of these have been there, but I want to see all of my layer styles. So what I can do is I can just go to the effects icon and then choose show all effects, and that's going to show everything that I have. And I could just select one and then delete anything that I don't want. So everything is back to normal. Pretty good. Alright, so the next feature is pretty cool and interesting. This is something that a lot of you guys into photo manipulation, photo editing, and graphic advertisements do. So let me show you what it is. So if you go and zoom in a little bit close over here, and by the way, for zooming in, I'm using the Alt key and then I'm using the scroll key to zoom in exactly where my cursor is. So if I want to zoom into this guy's glasses, I can zoom in over here. I can press the spacebar key to pan around and stuff like that. So I think that's another cool shortcut. So pretty good. All right, so what I'm going to do is let's actually go to a place where there is good visibility and there is no blurriness. All right, so over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some kind of a rectangle. So I'm going to go grab my pen tool. So it's in the pen tool, and I'm going to go and probably, I don't know, go from here and like this, and then probably over here. All right, and then I'm going to click on this to turn it into a shape, this top button. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to go to the properties, I guess, the paragraph, layers. All right, let's press U to get the shape tool actually. And I'm going to go to the fill, disable that, and we're going to have a stroke. Let's go for, I don't know, a orange color stroke, and we could set this to probably 5 if we want. And yeah, that is pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this and add in a glow. So I'm going to go and choose a glow. Let's go for an outer glow. And as you can see, this is what we have. Click on OK. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask some stuff. So I'm going to come here to this hand section over here. And let's actually go and change the color of the outer glow to orange so we can see better. All right. We can actually set the opacity to 100% so we can see better. Pretty good. So I'm going to press P on my keyboard to get the pen tool. Let's actually add in a layer mask over here. So we have a layer mask, and then I'm going to click, make sure you have not selected anything. You just selected the layer mask, and then press P on your keyboard, and we could go ahead and draw something like this. Now, if you still see this happening, you would have to Control Z that. Make sure that you have not selected anything. So to make sure that, let's add in a layer mask first. And if you select the layer mask, we still see this outline. So all you have to do is press Enter and that layer mask goes away. So now if you click on it, we don't get that layer style affected on that. So I'm just going to click over here, and I'm going to click over here, and then click over here. Let's actually do this a little bit more cleaner. All right. And yeah, I think that should be pretty good. And then I'm going to press Control Enter to create a selection, fill that up with a black color, and there you go. This is done. Now, all right, so now I just quickly went ahead and changed the colors a bit so we could see it better. Now, as you can see over here, I'm not sure if you guys can quite see it, but as you can see, it kind of rounds off over the edges over here. It doesn't straight flat out. Here also it rounds off, and here as well, and here it just rounds off a little bit. So to kind of give it a realistic effect, we could go into the blending options, and here you see this option which says layer mask hides effects. Now just keep looking at this and let's see what happens when I turn it on. As you can see, it looks pretty good. The glow continues to act like as if it isn't there, and as if the glow is on the back side of the hand. But if I turn this off, it looks like the glow is kind of at the hand and it is stopping right at this point. So if I turn this back on, you can see there's a difference over here. The glow goes behind the hand, which is exactly the way the effect is supposed to look. So yeah, layer mask hides effects. Just click on that and it should fix your issue. Pretty good. So that's pretty much it for all the tips and tricks to work faster in Adobe Photoshop CC 2019, guys. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section which was your favorite shortcuts, and if If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment sections down below as well, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So till then, take care and bye bye.